Hello again. This is the computer programming course from the Industrial and Management Engineering, Hankook University of Foreign Studies. And this chapter we are going to discuss about the method. What is method and how can we deal with method? We are going to discuss this, and first is related to the method. Second, we are going to learn about the return values with method. And the last one, we are going to discuss about the local variables. So let's move on. The first thing, we are dealing with the methods, and it is a method without return values. We will see what is void later with some examples. So what is method? A method is a collection of statements that are grouped together to perform an operation. It means we have the statement, and the statement is grouped into one block. Okay, so we are going to learn what we call as the static method. We are going to learn the first is the static method. It is a name of group of statements in a static class. The static class is a class that we already create usually. If you check on the your Java file, you always mention about the public void static main. Okay, so what is the meaning by static? So now let's just deal with the static method. I will teach you some ways, and I will teach you some examples. What is the meaning by the static? The static method, it denotes the structure of a program, and it eliminates redundancy by code reuse. We are dealing with the procedural decomposition. It means we are going to divide a problem into methods. Okay? So writing a static method is like adding a new command to Java. So when you have the method, it means you just have to deal with the statement, but the statement will be inside a method. You know about the main method. Okay? So the main method is one method. Let's say the first method is a collection of statements, and you can create another method with different statements, and then you can also create another method with different statements. So when we do with the static methods, we need to think about the design. So you need to think the step of the algorithm. You can take a look on the structure and which command that you are going to repeat. If you know that there are some statements that you're going to repeat, then you can just make it as a method. And you can decide what are the important of overall tasks. Next is you are going to declare the methods. Declare the methods means you need to create the methods. After you have the methods, you need to set the statements into that method and give the method a name. And don't forget, when you finish to declare the method, you need to call the method. The main method, the program's main method, execute the other method to perform the overall task. So when you have the other method, you need to run the method from the main method. So we have one example, and you deal with the method, you need to give a name. Yeah. How can you give a name? Yeah, you can just consider this one, name. Yeah. You know how to declare the main method. Yeah. So this is the public, static, void, and yeah, you have the name. The name, it can be anything. You know, the identifier. You still remember identifier? Yes. So the identifier is also one the condition that you can use to make a name. And inside of the method, you can make the opening curly bracket and the closing curly bracket. So those curly bracket means the starting point of the method, and this curly bracket means the ending point of the method. Let's say I have a method and the name of the method is customer name. So that's fine with this method because all the identifiers should be related with letters. Okay? It should start with letters. It cannot start with numbers. So this method starts with letters, and then it consists of the lowercase and uppercase. and you start with the curly bracket. So the curly bracket is the block, and we have print Mr. Park, and we have another print from Korea, and we have print line. So you already know this kind of statements. So when you want to call the method, you need to call the name. Let's say if you have the name as customer name. Okay, this is the method name that you already defined. Here, customer name. Then in the main method, okay, in the main method, you need to call this name. Okay, so the name that you call in the main method should be the same with the method name. Okay, let's see this example. We are going to use the class method trial. I guess you need to put all the contents on your yeah, I give you the section 5.zip, so please unzip that one. What is it? Abjuk pulgi. Okay, so after you do with the abjuk pulgi, so there are many Java files. You can just copy and paste. Okay, you can copy this one, and you can copy this one, and then you can put on your Java file. So here I already opened my Eclipse, and you can, oh sorry, I guess here. So you can make a new package here. You can make a new package. So here you can make a new package, and then just paste all the files that I gave to you in the section 05. Here you are. Okay, so you don't need to type, and you just get those files and just open it. When I give the examples, you can just open like this one, the method trial.java. It's already here. Okay, now we would like to discuss this example. Yeah, I guess it's not difficult to understand the print line. You know, the print line is to print the string inside of the bracket. And okay, here is a customer name. What is customer name? This is something that is related with the method customer name. In the method customer name, you have three statements. Which is first is to print the Mr. Park, and the other is to print from Korea, and the last one is to print line. So it goes to the next line. And we are going to call the method here customer name, and then we are going to call again customer name. So let's say if you want to make a kind of email, okay, so in an email you will greet your customer at the first time, dear customer, and then you will call the name Mr. Park from Korea. Welcome to USA, enjoy your trip. And then maybe you want to call again your customer name, then you can just put one method here, customer name, and then you can call as many as you want, because in this method it is a collection of the statements that you can call anytime later. So if you run this, yeah, you can get the dear customer Mr. Park from Korea, welcome to USA, enjoy your trip Mr. Park from Korea. Okay, so we are using this methods, so the methods itself can call another method. What does it mean? We have the method like this one, message one. Okay, what is message one? In the message one method, it is the okay, in the message one, we are going to call this method. So the method is printing this is message one. What about message two? So we are going to call this message two. Okay, remember that all the methods are inside the main method. So we are going to call the message two. The message two is here. So the message two is to print the message two, and then we are calling message one. What is message one? Here is the message one. Okay, so we are printing this is message one. After we finish this one, we are going to back. We are bringing back here message one, and then we will print done with message two. And finally, it will return back here, and we will print done with min. Okay, result will be this is message 1, and then this is message 2, and then again this is message 1, and then done with message 2, and then finally we will print done with main. Okay. So when a method is called, the program execution jumps into that method. So jumps means you will go to the method. We will go to that method and jump back to the point where the method called. So it will jump back to the method call. So if we have this one, oops, yes, this one, yeah. When we call the message 1, we are going to execute the message 1 method, and we print message 1. And then we return back to this method. And then we go to the next flow, the next line, and in the next line it is a message 2. So the message 2 will be like this one. So system.out.print line, this is message 2, and then we have message 1. So the message 1 will connect again to the message 1 method, and then we will print the message 1, and then after we finish we will go back again to this message 2, and we will go to the last one, done with message 1, done with message 2. After we finish this one, it will return back to the main method. And after we have the main method, we will go to the last one, which is done with main method. Okay. Okay, let me check. Is there any example? Yep. So we have method called method. Okay. So in this example, it is the same with the PPT that you already have. We are going to call message 1. We are going to call message 2. Inside the message 2, we have a message 1. So a method which called another method. Yeah, this is the result. So this is message 1, and then this is message 2, and then this is message 1, and then done with message 2, and then done with main. The previous example is not a good example, because when you create a method, you should have a clear definition. What is the method? Okay? So you need to place the statements into a static method if okay, the statements are related structurally, and or the statements are repeated. So if you're going to repeat those statements again, then you can make a method. But if you don't need to repeat those statements, then you don't need to make a method. For example, if the statement is only individual print line statements, if your method is only individual print line statement, then you don't need to. Okay. For example, in your method is only system.out.print line. It's not necessary. Right? Or it only blank lines, like this one. Yes, only blank lines. You don't need to do that one. Or it is related with weekly statements or unrelated statements. So in the unrelated statement is just giving you prompt. Okay, what is the number that you are going to input, for example. So those one is not necessary to make a method. Okay. Or if you are having a lot of statements and then you want to split into several methods, then that's also possible. Okay, but remember, you should not create the static method for weekly and weekly related statements. In the methods, you need to understand the method signature. So in the method itself, you can have signature, and the signature is the parameter list. It is the combination of method name and the parameter list. The parameter or argument is a value that will be passed to the method. So the parameter is important to give the value or the variable that you want to do with in the method. Okay. For example, the parameters should be defined according to the data types. If it is related with integer, then yeah, you need to give the parameter integer. If you give the parameter double, then yeah, you need to deal with the double value. Okay, so let's see this example, test void method. In the test void method, okay, this is the example that you did on the discussion. Okay, So if you still remember when we deal on chapter 3 about condition, yeah. So there is one slide in the PPT that have the result incorrectly. So I'll ask you to give your opinions how to make a good statement for if. This is one of the statement that is good for you. Okay. Now we are going to print the grid, and this is the static method, and we have the one argument or one parameter, and you can see this is the value 78.5. And when you call the method print grid, I want to know what is the value that you're going to check. So here the value is double, and the variable name is score. It means the 78.5, it will be the value of the variable score in this method, and you will check if the score is less than 0 and the score is greater than 100. Oh, sorry, or if the score is in this range, then it is invalid score. Okay, so you want to get only the valid score, which is a value greater than or equal to 0 and less than 100. And then you will continue with the score. If the score is greater than equal to 90, it is A. Else, if the score is greater than equal to 80, then it is B, and so on. Okay, so if you run, yeah, it is C. Why? Because we can get this one is okay 78.5. The result is C. Okay, so this is one method. This is the void method with one argument. Okay, this is the void method. When you make the main method, is also using the void. So we have this signature, okay, or we call sometimes the literature mentioned it as argument. That sometimes it mentioned as parameter. So I would like to focus on the term of parameter. Okay. So when you have one parameter, it means you are dealing with only one value in the bracket. So you can use a fixed number. Okay? You can use a fixed number like this, or a fixed value. Let's say n print line. Welcome to Java. So if you want to print with these values, then this value will be the values in the bracket. So for example, we have n print line. Welcome to Java. What is n print line? Okay, what is n print line? Okay, it is a method. Yeah, this is the method name, and then this is the parameter. And I would like to check this is okay. This is the method name, and the parameter, we have one parameter which is string. And what happened next is we are going to do the for loop. The for loop is to do the loop of iteration from I equals to 0 until I less than 3, and then I plus plus. So it will be added by one, by one, by one. And whenever the condition is still true, we will print out the message. Okay. So if we have welcome to Java, like this one, what is the result? Yep. The result will be welcome to Java, welcome to Java, welcome to Java, 3 times. Okay. Then what about if I change the parameter? I have n print line, and the text is computer science. Then it will print computer science, computer science for 3 times in 3 rows. Okay. So it depends on the value that you insert here, the message will be appear. So it depends on this one, and it will affect this variable. I guess you can say the example here If you're dealing with method with one parameter. So we have welcome to Java and computer science. So if you run welcome to Java 3 times and computer science 3 times. Okay. Now, if you have parameters which is more than one, yeah. Oh, sorry, this is with one parameter, still with one parameter. Okay. So we have one parameter, but it is in different example. So in this example, we are going to do this condition. The program will stop when the user type exit. Okay, this is interesting. And every name in the program will be passed to the method print the name. So there is only one parameter. So let's say if you have this one, this is the scanner, and then yeah, I will start with the string name equals to this line, and then while we have the name is it is not equals to exit, then we will do the same like what we already did for the repetition. Okay, so if the condition is not true, then if the condition is true, then we will keep looping until the condition is true or false. Okay, so this is still false. Oh, sorry, this is true, and then we will do the looping, and we will print the name. And once we print the name, we want to check again if the name is exit, then we will not do this one. If the name is exit, then we will exit from this one. So if you check, method with one parameter, 2, okay. You have this, let's see, you run, input your name, Bernardo, then you will put Bernardo is a good name. Let's say I put Yahya, okay. Okay, Yahya is a good name. For example, I tap exit. Thank you. Okay. So in this case, I would like to use ignore, equals ignore case. Okay. Do you still remember what is equals ignore case? Yeah, this is to fit with the string regardless the lower and upper case. So if you have the equals ignore case, then it doesn't care about the upper and lower case. As long as the text is the same, then it will be true. So the one parameter, yeah, you can have the string, or you can have with integer and etc. Okay. But what about if I have the more parameters? If it is 2 parameters, then let's suppose I have the end print line. I have the string which is welcome to Java, comma 3. So we have 2. The first parameter is string, and the second parameter is integer. What happened with this one? So let's see, what is n? N is the, okay, n will be the limit for the repetition. Then the message will be printed according to the number of n. If you insert 3, then it will be 3 times. If you insert 7, then it will be 7 times. Okay, so let's see the example. With multiple parameters. Okay, so we have 3 and 7, and then those will be the parameters. So we have 2 parameters here, and then if you run, okay, so we have Java, there are 3 times, and the computer science we have 7 times. Okay, and the last one will be also the same with many parameters, but we are having different way to deal with the multi parameters. So let's see. In this example, yeah, I have the same example with the previous example about the methods with one parameter, but here I have the patch. Okay, Yeah, this is only just giving you the idea. Batch is the year that you enter the university. And then, yeah, once you get the name and once you get the batch, yeah, you want to print the n and you want to print the batch. If the n or the string equals to exit, then you will just stop. Okay, so if not equals to exit, we will print. But if the string equals to exit, then we will stop. We will not execute this one. So if you run, what is your name? Yeah. Okay, input your batch 2006. Okay, Yahya is good name in the batch of 2006. For example, Bernardo, and then it's 2020. Okay, Bernardo is a good name in the batch of 2020. And then let's say you want to type exit, then okay, we have 2007. Okay, thank you. Because now exit satisfy this condition, then yeah, it will be stop. Okay, so you already know the methods, yeah, the basic methods with without parameter, with one parameter, and with many parameter. And you can make your method with more parameters. So you don't need to care about the number of parameters. It can be one, it can be two, it can be three, or it can be five. Of course, if you have more than one parameters, it will be so complicated. So try to limit the parameters, maybe two or three. Of course, it depends on your requirement. It depends on your program. So you don't need to feel burdened if you have 10 parameters. That's fine. There are many programs with that kind of parameters. But you need to design your method first before you apply with those parameters in order to make your method efficient and understandable by other people. And please remember that every method should be repeated or it can be executed with the other method. Okay, I guess I'll stop in this video. I will continue the next section in other video. Okay, thank you very much for listening.